For years, Justin Bieber stayed completely silent about what happened to him inside the music industry, and now, piece by piece, that silence is finally cracking. The trigger? Diddy's legal team just walked into a federal appeals court trying to get his sentence reduced, and the timing couldn't be worse. Because right as that story broke, 50 Cent, who has been watching this entire situation closely, couldn't hold back anymore. And what he said has people asking one question. Does Justin Bieber actually know something that could change everything? That right
for a second. 21-year-old Justin is giving 15-year-old Justin advice on what to expect from the industry and what to expect of life, going through what you've gone through. What do you say to that dude now?
I would just say, just listen to the people who care about you, you know, and also I was so, you can't really teach innocent, because I was innocent and I was young and I trusted everybody, and with being young and innocent in this industry, it's not necessarily the best thing because people take advantage of vulnerability. And so I think I was just in a place of just trusting everyone and, you know, thinking everyone was on my side and eventually getting burned. And yeah, it's just tough, man. And after a while, I started putting up walls and boundaries, and for a while, I kind of shut everybody out. And then I kind of lost my own personality and lost my charismaticness because I just didn't trust anyone. And then finally I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna let them win. I'm gonna give them some of me and learn how to put up a wall without closing myself off.
That's not just a young guy reflecting on growing up. Listen to what he actually said. He was innocent. He trusted everyone. And being innocent in that industry, his words, is not necessarily the best thing. People take advantage of vulnerability. He said that clearly on camera with a smile on his face that never quite reached his eyes. That interview is from years ago, but go back and watch it now with everything we know about what was happening around him at the time, and it hits completely differently. Because at 15 years old, Justin Bieber wasn't just navigating fame. He was being guided very deliberately into a specific world, and one man in particular made sure of that. Here's exactly what that looked like.
As soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna let you rock this every time you come to LA. Yeah, this gonna be yours. So, every time you come to LA, it's a little dusty, but you know, come get the front shot of this.
Man.
Man out. Minute.
Woo. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna be driving this next year.
Yeah, when you get 16, you come down, you gotta, you know, wear your seatbelt.
I mean, I'm 15. You could ride in the passenger seat. I got my permit. Not yet.
No.
All right, 16.
Not ready.
16.
Let's slow down. Let's slow down, Justin.
Okay.
Let's slow down, okay?
One step at a time.
But yeah, the keys is yours when you get 16. You good to go.
I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Car at 16, a mansion at 18. Listen to how that's framed. Rewards lined up like a schedule, like a plan. And Justin, 15 years old, is just going along with it, laughing, excited, completely unaware of how this might look from the outside. Now pair that with the next part of this same video where Diddy actually uses the phrase, "I've been given custody of him." That phrase alone set off alarms for a lot of people when it resurfaced. Because what grown man describes his relationship with a 15-year-old boy using the word custody? That's where things start to connect. This wasn't just a mentorship. The way Diddy spoke about Justin, in public, on camera, suggested a level of control that went far beyond music industry networking. A 15-year-old...
Then, when you get 18, you get the house. You get the mansion.
Okay, I get the mansion?
Yeah.
So where are we off to now?
Where would you like to go?
I mean, wherever you want to go. Where are we going?
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him, you know.
Dream? That's how Diddy described those 48 hours. But here's what's important. He never actually said what they were doing, just that they couldn't disclose it. For a weekend with a minor? That detail right there is what kept this clip circulating long after it was first posted. And it lines up almost perfectly with something Justin said about that period of his life in later interviews, that he started putting up walls, stopped trusting people, and for a while completely lost himself. That's not the story of someone who had a fun weekend with a mentor. That's the story of someone who walked into a room as one person and came out changed. 50 Cent noticed all of this long before most people were paying attention. And that's where this ties back to why his reaction matters so much right now. Gene.
Yeah, Justin, he's been real quiet about this. I mean, I think like a lot of the other celebrities.
I was reading some, Cam, and the kid say after he went to Diddy camp, he started using drugs so heavy and was smashed every day. What would cause a kid who wanted to be an artist in the music business all of a sudden to start getting high and drinking and drugging, popping pills and smoking? What would cause a kid to do that?
Deal spent years close to Diddy. He was there. He saw things. And even he is sitting there saying Justin went real quiet, the same way so many others did after getting too close to that circle. What he's referencing is a pattern that multiple people have now described independently. A young artist enters that world focused, driven, with real talent. Then something shifts. Suddenly they're struggling. Substances, erratic behavior, disappearing from projects they cared about, and everyone around them just calls it the industry like that explains it. But it doesn't explain it. Not fully, because not every young artist goes through that same collapse. Something specific happens to specific people, and the ones it happens to all seem to share one thing in common. Hear what this co-host said next, because he said out loud what everyone was thinking.
I mean, usually trauma.
Or a Diddy party.
One sentence, that's all it took. And the reason that landed so hard is because it wasn't said in outrage. It was said like the answer was obvious. Like everyone in that room already knew. That's the moment this conversation stopped being speculation and started feeling like something closer to truth. Now here's where 50 Cent enters this story. Because 50 has had a long and very public history with Diddy. Not just as a business rival, as someone who has consistently been willing to say the things out loud that most people in the industry only whisper. When word started spreading about Justin's possible connection to Diddy's situation, 50 didn't stay quiet. He went straight to social media. And what he posted, the specific way he mocked Diddy, told you everything about what 50 believes actually.
Out of all the people in the world, Diddy had a history of getting involved with women connected to other men in the industry, sometimes even rivals like 50 Cent.
Diddy's not some nerdy dude who just happened to find some IG model and, oh my God, this is the girl of my dreams. Man, he has access to women all around the planet.
And that's his reputation.
But he went after the baby mother of one of his rivals.
Exactly.
Someone who had been taking shots at him for years.
Absolutely.
On purpose.
And he went after her knowing that they had beef.
Right. And slutted her out.
Slutted out.
Just slutted her out.
Slutted out.
Having a whole basketball team run a train on her.
Totally
and
did. I
just
totally
the whole
agree.
thing, right?
Totally agree.
Right.
But his reputation from when he worked at Uptown, I'll be sure's girlfriend.
Oh, Kim Porter.
Kim Porter.
Right.
That's his reputation.
I'll be sure his baby mother.
Baby mama.
Yeah.
Then Eric Serum, his friend, the one that had she had his baby, Mia. So he's had a reputation of going after people.
Tupac's ex-girlfriend.
Tupac's ex-girlfriend.
He got a baby with her too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my point that I'm making to the men listening, if you don't understand this, then you just poorly educated and don't really have common sense. It's a no-no. There's no way I would go after Vlad's ex-girlfriend.
Right.
I'm so loyal that if I met a woman and she said, oh yeah, I used to date Vlad. Oh, I can't with you, baby.
Right.
I won't even put my in, excuse my language. Because that's
really happened. TK Kirkland just laid out something that people forget about Diddy. This man went after 50 Cent's baby mother on purpose. Knowing they had history. Knowing there was beef. That's not an accident. That's a message. And 50 Cent is not the type to forget messages like that. So when Diddy's situation became public, and when Justin Bieber's name started being connected to it, 50 was not neutral. He's never been neutral on Diddy. He's been posting, commenting, subtly and sometimes not, so subtly letting people know exactly where he stands. And the mockery isn't random either. What makes this theory interesting is that 50 seems to know more than he's saying directly. He's dropping hints wrapped in humor. That's a very specific move. That's someone who is confident in what they know, but letting the public catch up on their own.
What's going on with you guys? Are you working together?
I'm not. I mean, I think that we we've become friends in a strange way, you know?
Like Robin Big.
Yeah, it's like, exactly.
I'm Big and you're Robin.
Yeah. No, I mean, to a lot of us, he's like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family, and he's somebody that, you know, we definitely have our arms around, and we want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person besides his talent. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever know.
We have our arms around him, and we want to protect him. Re-watch that clip. Every word Diddy used was about access, about protection, about loyalty. The language sounds warm on the surface, but underneath it describes ownership. And Justin, sitting right there, looked like someone who had learned not to say the wrong thing. There's a version of that interview where you take Diddy's words at face value, a successful mentor genuinely looking out for a young kid. But there's another version, and it becomes harder to ignore the more you know, especially when you factor in what came next in Justin's life. The erratic behavior, the very public struggles, the years of silence on anything connected to this chapter. And now, right as Diddy's lawyers are in court trying to cut his time short, Justin has started talking, not directly, but enough. He
loves someone, and I'm not the type of person who likes confrontation at all. Like, I hate it, especially with my friends. So I don't want to disappoint them. I don't want them to think that I don't love them, you know. But there's sometimes you just need space, and it's like I still love you, but I'm gonna love you from a distance because I don't know if like we're right for each other right now. Not like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's probably comforting for teenagers to hear this because we've all been there. Like we've all had those friends that we couldn't say no to and peer pressure. And this is probably how we gotten ourselves into situations that we have.
Yeah. Talking about not wanting to disappoint people, about not being able to say no, about loving someone from a distance because it just wasn't right. On the surface, that sounds like any young person navigating complicated friendships. But listen to that in the context of everything else. He's describing a dynamic where someone else's feelings were always more important than his own comfort, where saying no felt dangerous, where the only option was to slowly pull away and hope nobody noticed. That is not a healthy mentoring relationship. That is someone describing the slow, quiet process of setting a boundary they were never fully allowed to set in the first place. And the fact that he's framing all of it so carefully, so diplomatically, tells you he's been thinking about exactly how much to say for a very long time. 50 Cent has no such filter. That last line...
Justin, You know, Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, he could buy you one also while you're out.
He got me a Lamborghini.
Oh, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last time.
He had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house. And he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
He knows better than to be talking about the things he does with Big Brother Puff on national TV. The host said that like it was a joke. The audience laughed, but go back and really hear what was just said. A TV host on a mainstream show just told a teenager in front of millions of people that there are things he's not supposed to talk about publicly. And everyone laughed and moved on. That's the part that keeps coming back up when people revisit these old clips now. It wasn't hidden. It was in plain sight. Broadcast, recorded, and nobody flagged it. That's the environment Justin was navigating at 15, 16 years old. And when 50 Cent resurfaced these moments online with his signature commentary, people finally started paying attention in a different way.
Sean Diddy Combs is pushing to have his prison term cut short. The rap mogul's lawyers took his case to a federal appeals court in New York on Thursday. They say his sentence for a sex-related conviction was too harsh. Jerika Duncan is here with more from those arguments. Jerika, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. A lot to consider here. Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers argue a judge wrongfully sentenced their client by considering more serious charges than what he was actually convicted of. They also say it is the most prison time ever given someone convicted of the same charges with a similar criminal history. Now, one of the prosecutors in this case insists that Combs' 4-year, 2-month prison term is below federal sentencing guidelines and in line with similar convictions. Last summer, as many of you remember, a jury cleared Combs of trafficking and racketeering conspiracy charges. The rapper was convicted of lesser prostitution-related offenses. He had pleaded not guilty to all charges and denied wrongdoing. He's scheduled for release in April of 2028. Nate, this should be interesting. It could take a couple of months before there's a decision. One of the judges in that appeals court saying that this was an exceptionally difficult case.
Here's where everything takes a sharp turn. Diddy's legal team is now in front of a federal appeals court arguing his sentence was too harsh. They're saying the judge factored in charges he wasn't even convicted of. And there's a real chance, not guaranteed, but real, that this appeal gets some traction. Which means the timeline people assumed was fixed is suddenly in question. And the moment that news broke, the reaction online was immediate. Victims, advocates, people who had been following this case closely, all of them started asking the same thing. What happens to the people connected to this if he walks out early? What happens to the accounts that haven't been fully told yet? And what does it mean for Justin Bieber? Someone whose name keeps appearing in this story if the pressure suddenly...
What does the entertainment landscape look like, Diddy coming home in 30 days?
Same as it look now. Bleak. Just not Memphis.
Just not Memphis.
Bars.
Goddamn.
You too.
Does Diddy have any redemption if he owns up to his depravities?
Prince said it best. Sometimes it snows in April. Oh, sometimes I feel so bad, so bad, so bad. Sometimes I wish that life was never ending. Oh, all good things they say never last. That's Prince.
Come on.
That's Prince. That's what he said. April, we'll see.
Disappears. Jaguar Wright didn't flinch. She said it plain, the same. Bleak. One person being held accountable doesn't change a system that was built to operate this way. And that's a really uncomfortable thing to sit with. Because the hope for a lot of people following this story was that accountability at the top would ripple outward, that it would force other uncomfortable truths into the open. But her answer suggests that's not how these industries work. The structure protects itself. The people with the most to lose are also the people with the most resources to make sure things stay quiet. And that connects directly to why Justin Bieber's level of silence, for this long, makes complete sense when you think about it from that angle. He didn't stay quiet because nothing happened. He stayed quiet because he understood what speaking meant. I hope
it's going to be hard to figure it out if it does exist.
Do you believe the guy in the tape is white?
If he's bigger than Diddy, and he's not none of the names that I said, probably so. But then they say he was young too.
Yeah, they say he was young.
Let me get his name right. I hope it ain't the Bieber. I hope it's not the Bieber.
That's a good one. It might be him. But if they saying that the guy is young and he's an A-lister, I can't think of that many black people, man.
Right. Not at all. And somebody that's more powerful, more of a celebrity than Diddy. You understand what I'm saying? If they were saying somebody that was more celebrity than Diddy, he was an A-lister, he was younger. You know what I'm saying? And if he's not black, it would have to be the Bieber. That's his name, Bieber? They said I got that wrong too. Justin Bieber, allegedly. I don't know, bro.
it ain't the Bieber, and then it might be him. Gene Deal is not a gossip account. This is someone who was in those rooms. Who knew the people involved? And he's sitting there doing the math out loud. A list, young, white, connected, and arriving at the same name everyone else arrives at when they follow that logic. Now, to be clear, nothing in that conversation is confirmed. Gene himself said repeatedly that this is speculation based on what he's heard, not what he's seen. But the fact that someone with his background is openly saying that name in that context is significant, because people like Gene don't usually throw names around carelessly. And when you combine that with Justin's own words, with those old clips, with 50 Cent's very pointed online behavior, the picture that forms is hard to ignore. That's where things stand right now. When there's
have been trying to drag Justin Bieber into this situation because there's a lot of like suspect looking videos with Diddy and Bieber in it, and you know they're making a lot of allegations.
Mm-hmm. Same way they made allegations about Usher when Usher was younger.
I mean, do you think that there's any credibility to these allegations?
When there's smoke, there's fire.
Smoke, there's fire. That's the line that keeps coming back to every single part of this story. Justin Bieber talking about being taken advantage of. Diddy's videos resurfacing. 50 Cent refusing to let this go quietly. Gene Deal doing the math on tape. Jaguar Wright saying the system doesn't change just because one person faces consequences. All of it is smoke. And the question now, the one nobody has a clean answer to yet, is whether Justin will go further. Whether the cracking silence becomes something louder, and whether if Diddy's appeal succeeds and that release date moves up, the urgency to speak becomes something that can't be held back anymore. Drop what you think is really going on in the comments below. And if you haven't already, you know what to do.